Mercer, my great white whale, Marty Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Contest Master. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I have a terrible confession to make. I am completely obsessed with winning the International Speech Contest. It's awful. Ever since I've been a member of Toastmasters, I've had tunnel vision about winning this contest. It has become my own personal great white whale. Yes, I'm referring to the classic great American novel by Herman Melville, Moby Dick. It's a story about Captain Ahab, who is obsessed and possessed and tormented about catching and killing the great white whale Moby Dick. He takes his crew members and puts them at great peril by chasing the whale all across the North Atlantic Ocean. At one point, he begins to lose all touch of reality. He believes the whale is taunting him. And why? To get whale oil to provide fuel for the streetlights in Boston. Wow, that's kind of weird, being obsessed by fuel oil? Anyhow. Here's my sad story of obsession. The first year I wrote this emotional and gut-wrenching story about my son and my family, a real tearjerker. I was sure it was going to win, only to lose to a young man who told a story about his grandmother and her garden. She was even in the room, and at the end of the meeting, she served her prize, tomatoes. The grandmother story, why didn't I think of that? So, I said, it must be about telling stories about old people. So the second year, I told this warm and uplifting story about my dad. It was called The Man with 9 Lives. It was all about how, despite many medical problems, he continued to teach the illiterate in North Georgia how to read. A surefire winner. And then the guy who beat me told a story about a cat. A cat that kept wanting to go outside and would never go out the door. At one point, the guy actually faked a fur ball. Cat vomit. Why didn't I think of that? I became more obsessed in the third year. I wrote a great story about high school football. Everyone loves the story about the small, undersized team beating the bigger, faster team, right? It was a sure touchdown. But my obsession made me lose my focus. And like the game that went into overtime, I went overtime, running long 7 seconds. Last year, I took to stalking. I scoured the neighborhood for a story, and I found a great story with a little boy next door. Only to lose to a guy who told a story about a young teenage girl who created a nationwide trend of good and hope. No matter how funny the 4-year-old boy story is, it never beats the do-gooding teenager girl story. What are your obsessions? Are you obsessed with finding the perfect job only to lose focus with your current employer? Are you chasing the dollar only to pad your bank account? Are you obsessed with your physical image? Always buying the latest products, trying to look more youthful? College athletic directors, seemingly willing to push the button in the envelope on all the rules and ethics just to win the big game. Our economy is down today, I think in large part because we became obsessed with chasing profits at the expense of common sense. At the end of the story, Captain Ahab is killed by Moby Dick. In fact, all of the crew members are killed by the whale, except for one lone survivor, Ishmael. As Ishmael was floating in the ocean, looking at the destruction that Captain Ahab had brought, he said, "Only I have survived to tell you." What's he trying to tell us? Well, Ishmael actually joined the boat not to chase whales. He was a school teacher. He just simply wanted a big adventure. He wanted to teach his shipmates how to read. Ishmael actually wasn't about the destination. For Ishmael, it was about the journey. And so that's what I've learned from Ishmael. It doesn't matter if I win the International Speech Contest. Now I realize it's all about finding the stories, crafting the words, practicing the speech. That's where the win is. That's where the joy is. The win is in someone hearing your story and leaving and having their life changed by what you shared. Without Toastmasters, I would never have been able to publicly honor my father. Without Toastmasters, I never would have realized the importance of faith in making big decisions. I realized that Toastmasters really is like a never-ending ladder. It's not about the destination. It's moving from rung to rung to rung. So I opened with Herman Melville and his story from 1851. I'm going to close with the 2009 song, The Climb, by Miley Cyrus. Yes, I'm going to take you home with Hannah Montana. There's always going to be a mountain. I'm always going to want to make it move. There's always going to be an uphill battle. Sometimes you just got to lose. It ain't about how fast you get there. It ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's all about the climb. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let your obsession sink your ship. Just